Private jet cost per hour sounds simple. It is not, and if you only compare hourly rate, you are already looking at the wrong number. That is the mistake a lot of smart people make when they first start looking at private jet charter. They ask, what does a private jet cost per hour? Use a once e. Fair question, but it is not the full decision. It is one line in a much larger calculation. If you want private aviation explained without the fake billionaire theater, subscribe to JetMaster. This channel is for people who want to charter smarter, compare better, and avoid amateur mistakes before money is on the table. In a moment, I'm going to show you why the hourly rate can mislead you. I'll show you the 5 variables that can change the real charter price even when the hourly number looks reasonable. And I'll show you how to compare quotes without falling for fake precision. Let's start with the blunt truth. A private jet hourly rate is not a quote. It is not a final price. It is not even enough information to make a decision. It is a starting point. That number usually tells you what an aircraft category may cost while flying. But your trip is not just aircraft flying. Your trip includes the route, the aircraft position, the airport pair, the schedule, the auditions, the handling, the fuel environment, the passenger count, the luggage, the timing, the availability, and sometimes the repositioning before your trip even begins. So when someone says, this jet is $8,000 an hour, that may sound precise. But that number is not a decision. It is a partial sentence. The real question is, $8,000 an hour for which aircraft on which ins stay on which route is ins bazius from which airport with which assumptions and under what schedule pressure. That is where serious charter buyers separate themselves from casual buyers. Let's break it down. Point 1. Aircraft category changes the hourly rate, but also changes the mission fit. A light jet, a mid-size jet, a super mid-size jet, and a heavy jet do not exist just so people can choose bigger seats. They exist because different trips have different requirements. Distance matters. Passenger count matters. Runway length matters. Luggage matters. Weather matters. Cabin comfort matters. Range matters. If you choose too little aircraft, you may create a bad experience. Fuel stops, tight cabin space, limited luggage, less flexibility. If you choose too much aircraft, you may overpay for capability you did not need. That is why, what is the cost per hour? What is you in can become lazy advice. It sounds like research. But if the aircraft is wrong for the route, the hourly rate does not save you. A cheaper aircraft that creates a fuel stop, a luggage problem, or a poor cabin fit may not be the smarter charter. And a larger aircraft is not automatically the intelligent upgrade. The right aircraft is the one that fits the mission, not the one that makes the hourly rate look best on a spreadsheet. Point 2. Flight time is not the whole cost. This is where many buyers get surprised. They hear an hourly number. Then they estimate the trip. 2 hours out, 2 hours back, 4 hours total. Then they multiply. That feels logical, but private jet charter pricing is not always that clean. There may be minimum billable flight time. There may be taxi time. There may be landing fees. There may be handling fees. There may be fuel surcharge behavior. There may be overnight costs. There may be crew expenses. There may be de-icing in winter. There may be international fees on certain routes. There may be catering, Wi-Fi, or special service requests. Some of these are normal. Some are small. Some are meaningful. The problem is not that fees exist. The problem is when the buyer thinks the hourly number already included the full trip reality. A serious buyer does not ask only, what is the hourly rate? A serious buyer asks, what is included, what is excluded, and what assumptions could change the final number? That is a better question. Point 3. Aircraft position can change the quote before your passengers even arrive. This is one of the biggest reasons hourly rate thinking breaks. The aircraft may not already be sitting at your departure airport. It may need to move into position. That movement is called repositioning. And depending on the route, the aircraft, and market availability, repositioning can change the economics of the trip. Here is the simple version. If you want to fly from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, but the best available aircraft is sitting somewhere else, someone has to account for how that aircraft gets to you. Sometimes the operator has good availability nearby. Sometimes they do not. Sometimes there is a better aircraft close to your departure airport. Sometimes the cheaper hourly rate aircraft is actually farther away, which makes the final quote less attractive. This is why a cheap-looking quote can be expensive after the assumptions appear. And this is also why two quotes for the same route can look very different. They may not be pricing the same operational reality. One quote may assume a nearby aircraft. Another may include repositioning. Another may be using a different airport. Another may be using a different aircraft category. So when someone compares only hourly rates, they may not be comparing value. They may be comparing confusion. Point 4. Airport choice can affect the final charter cost. Most first-time charter buyers think the closest airport is automatically the best airport. Not always. Private aviation is not commercial aviation. The airport choice can affect access, handling, runway suitability, aircraft availability, passenger convenience, and sometimes cost. One airport may be closer to your house. Another may be better for the aircraft. Another may have smoother private terminal handling. Another may reduce ground time after landing. Another may have better aircraft availability. Another may create fewer operational complications. For example, a major airport may look obvious because everyone knows it, but a smaller private aviation airport may be more efficient for the actual trip. Or the reverse may be true, depending on the route and aircraft. This is why airport choice belongs inside the quote conversation, not after it. Ask which departure and arrival airports are being assumed. Ask whether another airport would improve the trip. Ask whether the quote changes if the airport pair changes. That is not being difficult. That is being precise. And private aviation rewards precision. Point 5. Crew timing and schedule pressure matter. Private jet charter is flexible, but it is not magic. Aircraft and crews operate inside real rules, schedules, duty limits, maintenance windows, and availability constraints. If your itinerary requires unusual timing, long wait periods, late departures, early returns, or overnight stays, the cost structure can change. Crew expenses may appear, overnight fees may appear. Minimums may matter. Aircraft availability may tighten. If you change the return time late, or hold the aircraft longer than expected, the trip may not behave like a simple hourly multiplication. That does not mean private charter is fragile. It means the schedule has to be understood clearly. The more important the trip, the less you should rely on vague assumptions. If you are flying for a board meeting, a family event, a medical adjacent situation, a confidential visit, or a time-sensitive business trip, do not treat the quote like a casual price tag. Treat it like an operational plan, because that is what it is. Now, let's bring this together. How should you compare private jet charter quotes? Not by asking which one has the lowest hourly rate. Manzu ostets percentage is that's pose. That is too shallow. Instead, compare the full trip assumptions. Here is the checklist. 1. What aircraft category is being quoted, and why does it fit this route? Why do we cite 2. How many flight hours are being billed? Sarker Asser Indin Sret and 33. Is there repositioning included? 4. Which departure and arrival airports are assumed? 5. What fees are included and what fees are not included? 6. Are crew expenses, overnight costs, de-icing, handling, and landing fees clearly explained? 7. What could change the final price after approval? That last question matters, because a quote that explains the moving parts is more useful than a quote that only looks cheap. A serious charter buyer wants clarity, not just a low number, and this is where Alex is going to be blunt. If a provider cannot explain why the quote is built the way it is, you are not ready to trust that option. Maybe the option is fine. Maybe it is not. But without the assumptions, you do not know. And if you do not know, you are not comparing like a serious buyer. You are guessing. That is not how you should charter a private jet. You should know the route, the aircraft fit, the schedule, the airport choices, the luggage situation, the passenger count, the flexibility, and the key assumptions behind the quote. That is how you move from price shopping to decision quality. Now, if you want help thinking through this before you request or compare charter options, The free 10-day JetMaster private jet charter course is linked in the description and pinned comment. It is built for buyers who want to avoid amateur mistakes before they start comparing quotes. No hype, no pressure, just the practical structure you should understand before you charter. In the next video, I'm going to show you private jet route cost and why the same trip gets different quotes. Because even when the city pair looks identical, the operational details may not be identical at all. And don't forget, your JetMaster journey starts now.